I am finally sitting down to film. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that this was like an all-day ordeal because one, I get distracted a lot. Two, I was hanging out with my puppy. If you want to see all things Newfie Doodle puppy, definitely make sure you're following me on Instagram right here, simply.kellynoel. It used to be Simply Kelly Noel, and then my account got hacked. So now we have a new one, and like, I don't even think I have 100 followers yet. So please go follow me there. I'd love to build up my Instagram again. And I've been really trying to like share daily life all the time in my stories there. So definitely follow me there, and you can DM me there anytime, anything you want to share or chat about. Okay, so here we are. I'm finally sitting down to film, and I'm so excited because this is my first ever MLM Horror Stories. I love watching MLM Horror Stories. I learn so much from them. I feel like they're the most educational, like anti-MLM videos out there because you get to learn from personal experiences, and they're all a little bit different. You learn different things from each one. So I have 3 good stories to share with you today. And when I say good, I mean bad because they are horror stories after all. So let's just get into it. I didn't do my typical intro. I filmed it like 100 times and then just like wasn't feeling it. So I'm not doing the typical intro today, but I was in multi-level marketing for quite a while. And if you're interested in learning more about my experience, you can check out my anti-MLM playlist right here. But today, let's talk about other people's experiences. All right, story number 1. This one comes with screenshots, so we love that for us. Thank you to everyone, by the way, who sent stories in. Oh, and I forgot to mention, if you have your own MLM horror story that you would like to send to me that I can feature in a video, I would so appreciate it. And my email to send that to is in the description below. Okay, so story number 1. Hi, Kelly. Enjoy this convo I had with someone I've maybe spoken to once in my whole life. She was part of the band for BYU Folk Dance and Clog America, both groups that I danced with, but years apart from when she was a part of the band for those groups. She had been posting a ton about being a coach for Optavia and her great results, and then I saw this in my inbox. And guess what? We haven't spoken since. Shocked. Not really. I did end up doing Optavia later on, but chose to go with a different coach because this interaction was such a turnoff for me. So transparent what her intentions were. Also, love this caveat, you guys, listen up. Also, I do not recommend Optavia, in case you were wondering. It gave me great results because you're eating like 1,000 calories a day, but that's just not sustainable. So I gained it all back and then some. I've enjoyed the vids you've posted on your channel. Hope you're doing well. I am doing well, and I'm so glad you're enjoying my videos. Okay, so let's look at this message. This actually reminds me a ton of the messages and kind of my experience with my first MLM sponsor, the person who recruited me into Beachbody. And so I'll link that video here for you to check out. Which side is it on? I think it's this side. So the Optavia coach messaged, "Hey, how's your summer been? Did you tour this summer?" And then the person who submitted this said, "Hi, it's been a busy summer. Work has been extra busy. No touring for me. I just can't handle taking the time off anymore. I figure you're probably reaching out to be a health coach for me. Thank you for thinking of me, but want you to know up front, I'm not interested." I love this. I've had a few people reach out to me over the last few months to be a health coach, and it kind of hurts my feelings. I know I need to lose weight, which is probably why it stings a little bit, but I'm working on it myself right now. If I decide to seek outside help, I'll know you're there to reach out to. Hope you're doing well. You look great. So first of all, I need to say props to you, 1, for knowing exactly what her intentions were. Like, you're spot on, even though she tries to tell you you're wrong. And 2, I'm so sorry that this is like happening and it's like triggering for you and hurting your feelings. And I'm super proud of you for like saying that and like owning that, being upfront about that, telling her like how her actions are making you feel. That was July 30th, so it took her like 3 days to respond to you. I didn't even notice this until literally right now, but I honestly would bet that she went to like her sponsor or her upline or whatever and sent them a screenshot of this message and asked for help on what to say. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but that's just my guess. Because that's what you're taught to do in MLMs. As like a leader or a coach or whatever, you tell your downline to send you screenshots when you don't know what to say so you can help them. Okay, so she responded back, actually, I was just saying hi, but I'm sorry you've had those experiences. I am not one of those health coaches. I just try to live out loud and take in referrals as people come interested to me. I've been seeing lots of posts from this year's Clog America tour and feeling nostalgic. So she's like telling you the reason that she reached out to you, but we all know why she did. I've said hi to a bunch of people from the team I toured with. Oh, I guess she's targeting the whole team. Curious to see how everyone is doing. What are you up to these days? Okay, so then literally not even a full 24 hours later, she messages again. She doesn't even wait for you to come back because she must be feeling like, oh no, like I wonder if she's still thinking I'm like not being honest. And it's because she wasn't. That's why that's like going on in her head. Oh, the more I think about this, the more I'm like, ew. So then she followed up the next day with, look, just in case you think I BS'd that, I want to assure you I was really not trying to approach you as a health coach. I can't say I blame you for your response given what you told me, but I was just saying hi as a friend. Truly, I don't want you to think that I would do that to you. I hope the best for you. So then I'm not going to go through all of this because now you're just like so nice. Can I just say, like, you're being too nice? Like, you're really taking her for her word. So you say, thanks, things are good, lots of travel this summer. So you just go on to tell about your summer and you're like, you're so nice. You're sharing about your life and your family. And let's pull up the next screenshot. And then you ask, how are you? And so she makes conversation. This is like right after. She's like in this convo now. She goes, that sounds super exciting, though that would be hard to be apart from your husband. Traveling can be exhausting for sure. So she's responding to what you say. Now she's asking questions because she wants to keep the conversation going. That's a tactic. Do you call Alabama home? Where is your home base? And what school is EY? Is it a school? Haha, I don't know. My uncle-in-law was a campus recruiter for a while for UC Irvine. He liked it. Okay, and then you just respond. And she says, sounds cool. I saw you were very recently in Orlando. I was too. Haha, we might have been there the same time. Now a question to keep the combo going. How do you like Alabama compared to Utah? As if she's like so interested. I'm sure she is. Okay, you say, I don't like Alabama at all. I think I was visiting during the worst part of the year to visit July. Very hot, so I skip to the next screenshot. Stand outside in the shade and break a serious sweat hot. I think during the winter months, even spring and fall, super pleasant. And the green everywhere is nice to see. But I prefer mountains over green and dry over humid. Yes, me too. I lived in Utah for a little bit. Actually, the person who sent this in, I met her when I lived in Utah. So I know her personally and I love Utah. Okay, so then you ask, are you still fiddling? And she says, haha, dang, sounds a bit miserable there. Oh my gosh, I'm just dying reading this, even though I've read it already, because from the perspective of like a previous consultant, and I don't know if when you were in Optavia, if you like learned all of these kind of tactics too, but I mean, yes, it's just kind of like normal, like making small talk kind of a thing, but it's like you learn to always like respond to what they say, whether in agreement or whatever, but like you comment on what they say. So you're like engaged and acting really interested. And then you always ask a question to keep the conversation going. And that's happening every single time she sends a message. Okay, she says, Southern California heat is about as hot and I'm willing to go. Haha. I can't ever live in the South. I'm trying to keep up with planes, been hard with the kids, but I squeeze in and practice now and then. You dancing much? And you say, yep, I still dance competitively with Bethany Hulse at Extreme Rhythm. I'll do it for as long as my knees can take it. Wink face. She said, that's awesome. Good for you for keeping it up. And that was it. And like you said, you never heard from her ever again after this. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you think like her intentions were really just to reach out as a friend? Because if she was just trying to be friends and see how everyone on the team is doing, would she have really like done that literally once and then not again for 3+ years? I don't know. I don't think so. In my opinion, she was just trying to reach out to you as a health coach. And she totally lied when she said she wasn't. So that was story number 1. Story number 2. Okay, so this person reached out to me personally, actually, like didn't just submit the horror story first, but initially just reached out to me as like a former Usborne consultant to kind of talk to me about this experience that she had, because she was a little bit like honestly confused about it, because it is confusing. And so I asked her if I could share this, and she gave me permission to, so thank you so much for that. I did give a fake name to the Usborne consultant that she's talking about in this story, just to kind of make it easier to read and understand. So the name Amy is a totally fake name that I made up, just FYI. Okay, the story goes, hi, I'm a new Usborne consultant, but not new to Usborne because I've been buying their books for 6 years. That's pretty typical, right? People love the books, and then it's like, oh, why not like sell them to make some money? I signed up under my friend who I always supported. Where I live, there's another consultant, Amy, who is on our same team who does extremely well. We even got in touch and became social media friends. A few weeks ago, someone local posted that she was looking for an Usborne consultant because another person in mind was not available. A local seen the post and recommended me. I received a message and accepted the invite because the school the event was at is the same school my son goes to. So the conversation was great and I quickly became excited. Okay, so basically what happened is a school posted looking for an Usborne Books and More consultant for an event they were having. And the consultant that they initially asked to do the event, I don't know if they had done events for this particular school or not, but clearly they're like an active local consultant who's like built a local kind of business and like relationships and such, right? So they weren't available. So they posted looking for a consultant, and this new consultant who wrote into me accepted the invitation because it was her son's school actually. So like perfect, makes total sense for her to work and help out the school, right? Now another few weeks passed and I received a congrats on getting the event from Amy, who was not able to do it. I wrote back and told her that I was extremely happy to do this event because my son goes to the school. This was the first time since being social media friends that I was ever acknowledged by Amy. So this person signed up as an Usborne Books and More consultant, got this opportunity to work an event at her son's school, and this consultant, Amy, was on her team, not her direct upline, it doesn't sound like, but on her team. When she first joined, they became Facebook friends because they were local to each other, but Amy had never talked to her or reached out or anything. But now, a few weeks after the new consultant got the event, Amy reached out, congratulated her on like booking the event. So cool. And so now Amy knows that her son goes to the school and she's planning on doing the event, right? So then she says, I received a message from Amy asking if I can call her because she wanted to know about my qualifications for Usborne. I called and Amy began to ask me if I had completed training to do Usborne events. I told her no, but I was trying to understand the company more because I wasn't really catching the training. I was told by Amy that I had to complete that to do the vendor event. Honestly, the tone was a bit like a supervisor reprimanding me. I did not take it personal because I was trying to figure out what's going on. Just a few days ago, I received a congrats from you. We were also social media friends and you never reached out to me about help or questions. We do live near each other and are on the same team. Another thing that I thought of while on the phone was the post that went up about the event. She never responded to it, and she is in the group. So did you really care about my training and certifications, or did you not want me to do it? So this sounds like, honestly, like a strange conversation that she had with you because, for one thing, you're an independent consultant with Usborne Books and More. But then you have this consultant, Amy, seemingly reprimanding you over the phone for taking this job at your son's school without the proper certification, when as a completely brand new consultant, you didn't even know that that was a requirement. So she's not your boss. It doesn't even seem to me like a situation for her to like handle or deal with. She's not your direct upline. She's not your boss. No one's your boss. Technically, you're an independent contractor for UBAM. And it's like not your fault at all that you didn't know about the certifications. So yeah, I'm like not getting good vibes about this conversation. And I've said it before that one of my big issues with multi-level marketing is that they don't have the appropriate training at all. Like none of them. I've talked about this in my videos before. In a typical 9-to-5 style job, there's a training for everyone. It's a company-wide training, right? It gives you all of the information, policies, everything that you need to know before you start working. But when you join an MLM like Usborne Books and More, there's some company training, which you'll hear in the next story is vague. Yes, I agree. It's vague. It doesn't really tell you exactly what you need to do to work your job and be successful. And we know that because the income disclosure statement proves it. And if you haven't seen Usborne Books and More's income disclosure statement, I talk about that in the video where I show you like exactly what I made in a month working as a leader in Usborne Books and More. And let me tell you, I made nothing. So go check that out if you missed it. But yeah, like everyone would be making money if the company had the proper training. So clearly they don't. And then you also get whatever training your upline has put together, and it's like not standardized, it's not comprehensive. So again, like it's not your fault that you didn't know this, and it was like the job of your upline to help you get the proper certifications and make sure you knew the requirements for that. I did express that this made me uncomfortable. My reasons for that was I felt that Amy got involved to make me seem unprofessional, almost like you should have known better. I even questioned my race, and she said that wasn't the case at all and not to feel that way. In her defense, I feel that was my insecurity because Usborne has so many diverse authors and books, but I don't see as much diversity in the consultants. But again, that's me because I just started in my Usborne journey. Okay, I need to tell you though that for you to even question that, like to question whether or not she had like an issue with your race, like that should have never been a question. You know what I mean? So that's not on you at all. Please do not blame yourself and like your own insecurity or whatever, because there shouldn't have even been a conversation that would have caused you to question that. The consultant then changed the tone of the conversation to be more supportive to me, but also let me know that she will be taking over the Usborne ESR at my son's school, and that the day that she thought she was busy for the event, she is now available. For anyone who's not really sure what's happening here, when you're a consultant for Usborne Books and More, you have the opportunity to work with schools and libraries. UBAM has programs like fundraisers, book fairs, book drives, whatever, that you can do with schools and libraries. But in order to work with them, you have to get your ESR certification. I think it stands for Educational Service Representative or Services Representative. But you pay to get that. I think it's like $250 maybe, and you have to pay to renew it every year. And I actually think, can't remember, it was before I quit, but I don't really remember because I didn't work as an ESR. They changed their agreement with Usborne Publishing, and I think ESRs can't even sell Usborne books to schools or libraries anymore. They can only sell Kane Miller Books, which is the publishing company, like the other one that Usborne Books and More sells. I don't know, but a lot of ESRs were really, really mad about that. Just goes to show you, you have no control over your business. But anyway, once you're certified as an ESR, you list a school or a library to work with. And it basically becomes like your territory. So if a school or library is listed by a consultant, only that consultant can work with them. Nobody else can even like approach them. It's against policy. So once Amy listed herself as the Usborne ESR for this consultant's son's school, she basically just like ended it right there. Like this new consultant had no chance to ever work with her son's school. So Amy took away like a huge income opportunity for this new consultant when she had no personal connection with the school, but this new consultant did. And like Amy initially turned down the event. So when I was in UBAM as a leader, I would always like support newer consultants or consultants in my downline before myself. Like I would want them to have opportunity over me. So like if I were Amy, I definitely would have said, oh yeah, you have to get your ESR certification. Like here's the link, or like, oh, your team leader will help you find it. And then make sure you get it done soon so you can list the school before anybody else does, because you know, no one's listed them yet. That's what I would have done. So I'm like literally shocked that Amy knew that her son went there and she still said, oh, I'm going to be taking over the Usborne ESR at the school. Oh yeah, and I can work the event. That's horrible. I was a bit lost for words as I've been hearing some horror stories about the company and never thought I would be involved with any drama. I do enjoy the books, and other than things being extremely slow as far as my sales or getting people engaged, I just never thought I would be in any drama. Nothing like a multi-level marketing company to create a toxic work environment. Like seriously. The team leader I have is great. Oh yeah, I forgot to add this. Amy is not my team leader, and she could have got in touch with my team leader to lay down the rules to me because again, we're on the same team. They are very aware of my team leader. So I do agree with you here because being a new consultant, it is your team leader's job. Like literally in the job description of a leader with Usborne Books and More, it is the team leader's job to make sure that their downline, anyone under them, is like trained, has questions answered, things like that. So Amy, being someone on your team but doesn't know you personally at all, I feel like that was really strange and kind of inappropriate for her to like get you on the phone and kind of reprimand you, and then obviously not cool for her to like take that listing from you. But yeah, I totally get that like you would have been much more comfortable if Amy had reached out to your team leader like, hey, blah, 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 tried to do the event at the school, like doesn't know about ESR certification. Could you, figure that out with her? But of course in MLMs, like there's no procedures to follow. Everyone's just like doing whatever all the time. That's one of the big issues. As far as the event, honestly, I'm embarrassed because now I feel that Amy maybe doesn't really want to work with me, but she has to now. She was extremely nice, but I bet things have been awkward for her being in the middle of this. So are you talking about Amy being extremely nice? Because that's what I think you're saying, but that's confusing because Amy's like not being nice at all. So I'm confused. I don't know if she's been like, besides like the reprimanding in the phone conversation, has she been nice? I don't know. I'm confused because it was like not nice of her at all to list your son's school before you had the chance to. Like, I don't know. I don't know. You're being really nice, I think. Why is everybody so nice? You guys, there's red flags all over the place. Stop being so nice to these people. I did talk to my team leader and another Usborne consultants, former and present, and they were comforting and told me to complete the ESR training so this won't happen again. But here's the thing, I don't know what they're saying, because if Amy already listed your son's school, you're not going to be able to list them or work with them even after your certification unless Amy unlists it and like gives it to you, which I don't see why she would, considering she just took that event after you already agreed to do it. So even if you do get your ESR certification, sure, you can list other local schools or libraries, but you won't be able to do your son's. So just so you know. It was drama and no one can make me think otherwise. I think if Amy was warmer to me as far as reaching out to see how I'm coming along in the past, I would have felt different. I have other consultants that are not on my team, but we really support each other. If the consultant would have reached out to my team leader for her to explain things to me, I would have felt better. I'm really glad that you ended up reaching out to me about this because I know the policies and procedures for any MLM can be really confusing, and because their trainings really aren't comprehensive, you end up being confused and having to learn as you go, and that doesn't always end up being a great experience for consultants. Hopefully your experience has gotten better since that happened. I haven't chatted with you since we first talked about this, so hopefully it's better, but ultimately I hope you decide to leave because, well, if you're watching this, listen to the next story. All right, our last story, I think I saved the best one for last. Well, the worst one. I think I saved the worst one for last. This is from a former Usborne Books and More consultant as well. She was in it for a few years and even promoted to leadership. It is a bit of a longer story, but sit tight because it just gets like crazier and crazier. So you definitely don't want to miss any of it. This is a lot of talking, so if my voice is going, that's why. Okay. I joined in July 2018 after having hosted a few parties in the year prior and saying no to the opportunity multiple times. After a year, I decided to give it a try because I had a lot of mom friends that said they would host if I sold the books. I never planned to recruit nor promote when I first signed up, just wanted the discount on the books for my 3-month-old. This is a common story. If you ever host a party with Usborne Books and More, you should get asked to sign up as a consultant 3 times. That's what I was taught. I don't know if you were taught this too, but 3 times, like twice before the party and once after the party, you should be asked. So not surprised that you got asked multiple times. And it's also common for someone to sign up as a consultant just for the discount or just like do a few parties or host your own parties or whatever, but then down the line, like decide to try to recruit or decide to try to promote rank because you're taught as a leader to continually cast a vision for people about, how great it is to like promote to leadership because, ultimately it helps them make money. If you promote people under you, you promote, you make more override checks. My first year was not very successful because I was not into recruiting nor messaging every party guest to book with me. I hated feeling scammy or salesy and just partied with my mom friends. I had one random person sign up under me, but she only did vendor shows and no online parties, which I didn't really care about. I really just wanted the discount at this point. I had hip surgery to repair a torn labrum from childbirth in December of 2018. The things we do for our children. And took off the month of January 2019 to recover. I did end up taking over a vendor show for my downline and got sucked into this world for the next year and a half. Looking back on this, I feel really guilty for taking a booth space at these craft fairs, surrounded by people that have worked hard to create amazing products, selling my MLM books, but this is how I eventually funded my leadership minimums. That's interesting that you say that, because I've seen, I never did vendor shows personally, but I've seen postings looking for vendors where they say limited MLMs or like no MLMs accepted, because it's like, yeah, like you said, it's like not creating your own thing. It's not like your own small business, even though network marketers want you to think that it is. In May 2019, I was ready to step away. So that was like almost a year. I could tell I wasn't making any money and spending so much on books. Parties were super stressful, as the best time for parties were always during my daughter's bedtime, and listening to her screaming through the ceiling as I partied in the basement always made my stomach turn. My husband did the best he could, but she was very mom focused, and I kept thinking, why am I down in the basement doing this? I do remember bragging a few times that I was breastfeeding her during parties, and now I think how sad that I thought that was such a great thing. That's like what you're indoctrinated to believe, though. So like, yes, I agree. That is sad that you thought, ho ho, look at me. But like, as a consultant, you're indoctrinated to believe that it's so awesome that you can work and make money while breastfeeding, while watching your kids, or while being home with your kids. But like you said, it was actually miserable. Like, you were literally just tricked into believing that this was good and this was fine. And also, you mentioned that the best times for parties were during your daughter's bedtime. And it's like another trick, because you get recruited into an MLM thinking that you can work whenever you want to and you can fit it into your schedule. But ultimately, it's like, then you're looking at, okay, well, the best attendance for parties is probably at this time, although that's not good for me. But the alternative is I do it at a different time that might have lesser attendance, might result in lesser sales. So, okay, then your upline tells you to sacrifice to make it work, right? It's like, oh, just have your husband do it. And then you're in your basement miserable. So it's just like a total trick. It's not necessarily going to fit into your schedule and just give you complete time freedom. I also didn't feel supported at all in this first year. When I signed up, I wasn't given any sort of party script, images, ideas, etc. I would ask for help and would just get directed toward the company trainings, which were very vague and not helpful at all. I felt like once I got signed up under my upline, they had checked their box and just threw me to the wolves. I think most teams do give resources as far as like party scripts and templates and stuff like that. So I'm a little surprised you didn't, but you sign up under anyone and never know what you're going to get. Like, how many times can I say that? The trainings and resources that you get, it's just all random. It's like, who knows what resources your upline is going to give you, you know? You don't know. Before you sign up, the vast majority of people don't know what they're looking for. You know, like before you're a consultant, you wouldn't even know what resources you need necessarily, right? So you just sign up with whoever you think is gonna be a good leader, or your friend, or the lady down the street, and you get what you get. I stayed in because I am very competitive and hate quitting things. So I told myself I would go to one convention to see if that helped. And if it didn't, I was going to resign. I wish I had resigned before going to this event. I now realize it's a great way to indoctrinate doubters. There is so much hype and dopamine and free stuff there that it definitely makes you feel like the impossible is possible. I remember watching girls from my team walk the stage and wanted to do that the next year. I left there rejuvenated in this business. Yep, same. Like, you totally hit the nail on the head. Every MLM company has a convention, and they say the purpose is to get together, to learn, blah, 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 like community, friendship, whatever. Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you like how hard your uplines try to get you to these conventions. The upper level leaders in my like team page when I was in, I was like a lower, like a regular leader or whatever. But then like the upper levels, even though I was top 0.4% of the company, by the way, still wasn't upper level. Okay, but yeah, the upper level leaders, like directors or execs, whatever, who ran my team page, they did this event where every post was telling you how you can afford to go to convention and like giving you different ideas and ways to like make the money to go. They're just trying to like eliminate your excuses. Everyone should go because you can do a ton of parties to make the money, or you can sell stuff to make the money to go, or like whatever. They make you feel like you have to go, like you can't miss it. UBAM convention and probably every MLM, I know all the ones I've been in do this. They have an award ceremony that's meant to recognize their consultants, and oh, that's so great. But really, it's not just for recognition purposes. Like the recognition, it's to reward what they want the consultants to do. So for sales and for recruiting, because that's what makes the company the most money, right? And so like you said, you saw people walking the stage for $30,000 a year in sales, or like most recruits, or like most promotions on their team. And I did the same thing when I was in it. I was like, oh, you get to walk the stage for $30,000 in sales a year? Oh, I want to do that. Yeah, because that's what makes them money. So of course, it's all indoctrination. It's brainwashing, in my opinion. When I first learned that the upper level leaders got tiaras, I wouldn't say I'm like a girly girl, like not like a princess loving kind of girl. So I thought these tiaras were like weird, but all the upper level leaders were wearing them everywhere. And yes, I thought that was weird. I had no desire to like get a tiara. I'm like, I just want to promote so I can like make more money, you know? I don't want a tiara. But then I swear, like by the end of convention, I wanted one. And I always wanted one because everyone else does. I was brainwashed to want a tiara because everyone wants one. So you're like, oh, we love tiaras. Oh, I want one. I don't know. Okay. After convention, I promoted in October 2019. So basically, I got home and did a huge push to promote and did it within 3 months. I remember how amazing it felt to get added into that leaders group. Here I was doing it, but it wasn't as glamorous as I thought it would be. Suddenly, my hours increased even more. I had to worry about minimums, recruiting, etc. I vowed that any recruits I brought on, I would make sure were trained properly. Yes, so you saw the issue. You saw the issue that training was not appropriate. Were trained properly and not left to drown. I created a group where I shared my script and images and was actually proud of this part of my UBAM journey. But also, this is where it really started to make me question even more though. I was reprimanded a few times for my mindset, as I wasn't into the toxic positivity that was pushed so hard in the groups. I remember one time, after only being a leader for about a week or two, when I posted a question in our regular group, so meaning like team-wide group, so not like just leaders, but like all leaders and consultants on their team. And it got deleted, and I was suddenly in a 3-way chat with my director and team leader. I was told that leaders never asked questions in the regular group, as we didn't want our team to think we didn't know what we were doing. No one told me this when I was promoted, and I was a bit taken aback. Some of the strongest moments in my classroom when I was teaching was when my students would ask me something I didn't know the answer to. I would tell them, I don't know, why don't you find the answer and you can teach me something? They were so empowered that they would get to teach the teacher something, and it showed them that no one has all the answers or knowledge in the world. That's one of the craziest things I've ever heard. I remember in my team's group page, if someone submitted a post that was seen as negative, like they were sharing that they were struggling to book parties, or they couldn't get anyone to join their team or whatever, they want to know, like, am I the only one struggling? Or if you've ever struggled, like what helped you, you know, like they want to learn, right? And they want to feel not crazy. And the leaders running the page would not approve the post. They wouldn't even let it go into the group. And they would just message that person's team leader and be like, hey, so-and-so, they said this, reach out to them and talk with them and help them. So they would help them like privately. It was total information control. And that's exactly what this is. But like, this is like a different level. It's so fake that they didn't want anyone to think that leaders didn't know something. So this person who submitted this, we chatted a little bit and we were talking about how one of my like beefs with MLMs is that you hear opposite things, because I would always hear that you don't want consultants to think that they have to know everything to promote to leadership, because you don't want people to like not want to promote to leadership because they think, oh, I don't know enough, or I don't have enough time to like lead a team, like I'm not a good leader, whatever. Because when people promote under you, like I said, it boosts your paychecks. So you want people to promote. So you want them to think like, oh, anyone can do it. But then here on this team, they're like, oh, we don't want anyone to think that leaders don't know stuff. It's like, well, which one is it? It's so stupid. But it's total information control, because they're worried that any negativity or whatever is going to like sour other people's minds or like put doubt in their minds about the company. And they want everyone to think that everything is great. There is no problem. If we don't talk about the problem, there's no problem. But as I moved forward, I guess I began to show promise, because I was suddenly getting positive attention from the director and upline leaders. I received some notes in the mail, love bombing, and focused messenger chats. Let me say real quick that I got letters in the mail from like my way uplines, and I thought I was so special. But what they did was they would message me like, oh, I'm so proud of the commitment you've made to your business and the investment you made to attend convention. Because they're basically just doing the same thing that corporate does at convention, is they're reinforcing the behaviors they want to see. Because the more you go to convention, the more indoctrinated / brainwashed you are, in my opinion. It's like the more you're doing all the things, the more money that your upline ultimately makes. So they just want to reinforce that. It's like when I was a leader and I ran my own like team page or whatever, the monthly challenges were like, well, what do I want my team to do? Okay, well, we're not recruiting enough. Like, you know, I really want to promote or whatever. So we want to see more promotions. We need more recruiting. So you do a recruiting challenge and you offer an incentive for the most recruits. Or, oh, we really need to get our sales up. So you do a sales challenge. It's all extremely selfish, and none of it's genuine. I received some notes in the mail and focused messenger chats. I was put into a group with other motivated leaders, but this actually backfired as we all began to share our doubts and frustrations with leadership requirements, and it really started to open my eyes that I didn't really want to do this anymore. Yay! I love that your eyes are like more opened, more opened, more opened. Eventually you got out. Spoiler alert. As the year was ending, I had the month of January completely collapse on me. Yeah, that's happened to me too. I'm like, oh, no parties, no way to make money. I lost all my parties and I was suddenly sitting there with an empty calendar. I felt so lost, but dug deep and refilled it from my old contacts. So I posted about it, knowing full well that everyone struggles with this from time to time. My post spoke about how my calendar was suddenly blank and I had two options: leave it blank or go back through my old contacts and refill it. Again, my post was deleted and I was reprimanded for my mindset. Leaders don't say they have empty calendars. We didn't want to panic the lowly consultants that this business wasn't as easy to run as we claimed. That's crazy. Honestly, like, every team is different, clearly, because my team totally would have put a post like that through. My team definitely had leaders saying, like, we all have empty calendars sometimes. It's basically what you do about it, right, that matters. Oh my gosh, I feel like it's way worse what your team did is like, oh, just let everyone think that leaders have full calendars all the time. But that would make people feel so bad, because they'd be like, what am I doing wrong? I really suck at this. Like, I don't know how to fill my calendar. It's like, is nobody actually teaching anything? Probably not. 2020 hit, and before the world shut down, I was pushing very hard for this huge goal I had set at the previous year's convention. I wanted to sell $30,000 in 1 year so I could walk the stage. Little did I know there wouldn't be a stage that year, but that's besides the point. At the beginning of March, I had until March 31st, I was $800 away. I almost killed myself to try to reach this goal. Sadly, I did not, and this really bothered me. I had been pushing so hard, and right at the end, I lost it. I found out later that one of my fellow leader friends had reached out to all the leaders and upper levels of our team, all who had been cheering me on, to ask them to each buy a few books from me so I could get to my end goal. They refused. This really cut me deeply. I'm a blue, so personal relationships are my driving force, LOL. That's like a personality color, like a quiz that all the UM consultants take. They literally have like convention trainings on how to work as a consultant based on your color. I get it. We aren't supposed to purchase our levels/rewards, and they wouldn't make direct commission from buying from my link. But I know we all purchase books for our children, and if it had been someone else, this is exactly something I would have done for that person. Their response to her implied that I should have worked harder. This was the moment my brain shifted. These were not my friends. They weren't actually cheering me on. They were an upline cheering me on to get larger checks. Bingo! You said it. You know exactly. You know exactly what was happening. They wanted you to reach that sales goal because it was going to, one, your sales would add to their override checks because you make like certain percentage of override, like bonus commission on your downline sales. And two, you getting that sales award at convention would ultimately keep you in longer, which would continue to add to their paychecks. For sure, for sure. Next came COVID. This was where my eyes were really opened. For one, there weren't any vendor shows for me to go to, which was how I had been keeping my leadership afloat, buying stock for shows. My team wasn't working at this point, so I was meeting the $4,000 minimums every 3 months by myself. Once that collapsed, I had no desire to prey on my friends and family to keep this status. It made me sick to attend trainings where we were being taught to use the fact that people's children were home from school as a need for books. These people were out of work. They weren't sure if they were going to have a paycheck. They were juggling full-time jobs and kids at home needing schooling support on top of a world that was upside down, but I was supposed to message them to ask them to host a party and buy books? No, thank you. The straw that broke the camel's back, finally, was a post that was put in our leader group. It was asking all of us leaders what we were struggling with and to share it so we could band together and lift each other up in these hard times. I regret not keeping screenshots of this as I never expected it to be deleted. I responded with my true struggle, not the fake ones they apparently were looking for, like hosts canceling, guests not reading messages, tagging, etc. And that was the amount of time I spent on my computer/phone and how it was taking away from time with my daughter. I had quit my teaching job to stay home with her, and here I was sitting all day on my computer answering messages, posting in parties, following up, etc. Or I was on my phone if we were outside, telling her just 10 more minutes. I hated it. So I posted that as my struggle, looking for some compassion and kind words. Instead, they deleted it. And then I got a message from my director and senior exec. She was almost a director at this point and working with our director, coordinating, running the team. They told me they deleted it because it was too negative and they didn't want other leaders scared away. And they have spoken to me multiple times about my mindset and I needed to work on that. Instead of love and support from fellow mothers, I was chastised for my time management and mindset. Oh my gosh. Ugh. I swear this is like hard to read. They used a quote that I have come to despise. We all have the same 24 hours in our day. My 24 hours consisted of a young 3-year-old that didn't take naps, didn't sleep at night, was extremely high energy, and I was home with her to enjoy her. I didn't have nannies, cleaning ladies, assistants to do party posts, host packets, or prize mailings for me. I didn't have older self-sufficient children. I didn't have children in school, so my days were free. I had a little girl that I wanted to spend time with and wanted to play with me, and I was staring at a computer all day. I'm like furious. I've read this through a couple times actually, but like reading it for the video, I guess, it's like hitting differently. Like it's just not fair at all. Like the way that they spoke to you, the way that they tore you down, gaslit you, tried to control you, it's just disgusting. This stuff is like straight from the bite model of authoritarian, is that how you say it? Yeah, Authoritarian Control by Steve Hassan. I'll link it in the description. But I'm seeing elements of like all the things, like BITE is B for behavior, I for information, T for thoughts, and E for emotional, all control. Behavior control, information control, thought control, and emotional control. I'm seeing all of it. So go check out that and you'll be like, oh, wow. because they just totally gaslit you. They wanted you to believe that you were just like being negative, you had poor time management, you had to work on your mindset, instead of actually like validating the real struggle that you were going through. Like, I know you know this, but like that was real. They were gaslighting you. The way they treated you is not okay. And I also agree. I've heard the quote and I've said, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. When you're in an MLM, you think, oh, that's a motivating thing. Oh, this senior director, like the top level, oh, they have the same 24 hours I do. They just want you to like completely dismiss circumstance because it's all mindset. On top of this, they were suddenly requiring us to give money each month to buy prizes for the peak insides. It's like a recruiting event, like an informational event. We were running for potential new recruits. Blankets, coffee mugs, gloves, cookies, etc. Is this even allowed within UBAM? Basic bribery of new recruits to join? It's just incentives to get people to like participate. I'll talk about it in a second. These prizes weren't guaranteed to go toward any of the recruits I added into the event, so I was being told I had to spend money and wouldn't be able to potentially earn it back from a personal recruit that joined. Yeah. So my team also ran Peak Insides, and we did like a book giveaway for every time, and it's just for like participation. So this is like one of the things that you're taught as a UBAM consultant, and it's just another expense. You're literally trained to do giveaways all the time, like in every single party, and then in these Peak Insides, like just all the time. You're just always giving away your money. UBAM doesn't do giveaways. Like any sales, discounts, free shipping, giveaways that you do, it all is at your own expense. When I was a leader, I had like 2 leaders below me at one point, and I was running monthly challenges for my team. And when they became leaders, I did ask them to chip in for our like monthly challenge prize. And like, yes, it was optional. And at some point, actually, they were like, we don't really have like an active team participating in the challenge as much as you do. So we don't want to pay in for this. And so I was like, okay, fine. But like, it wasn't even fair of me to really ask because they did have such smaller teams than me. Really, I should have just been providing that, you know? But I mean, that's hard as a leader at any level to be buying in for all these events and stuff like that. It really like eats into your commissions. When I brought this up, they responded with, it's only $5 or $10 a month. You should be able to afford that. Just skip a Starbucks once a month. I was so angry and refused, telling them that I didn't have to contribute as it wasn't in my contract from UBAM. Yes. You're so smart. I love this. Suddenly we were being required to join Zoom calls once or twice a month. When I objected that it's during my daughter's bedtime, they told me to have my husband do it since this was important. So again, I was being told to not spend time with my child for this business. Nope. Yes. Red flag, you knew it. Good job. I suddenly realized it wasn't my mindset that was the problem. It was the fact that I wasn't complying with their rules, so I was done. They said they wished me well and would support me when I decided what to do, which I now knew was a lie. So I basically stopped working. I removed myself from the leader groups, chats, etc., and I walked away. I was sick of working 24/7 and spending money that I wasn't making to keep a rank that meant nothing. I was demoted in August 2021, and it was the best thing I have ever done. I walked away without a single regret. I heard from a friend that was still somewhat active in the team, as well as a leader friend, that the team was told to not speak to me as I had a toxic mindset. That's called information control from the BITE model. They didn't want anyone listening to what you had to say because you might say negative things about the company, and we can't have anyone thinking anything negative about the company because the MLM is wonderful, amazing. The opportunity is so good. They want everyone to stay brainwashed, in my opinion. Sadly, most of the friends I thought I had in that company immediately stopped speaking to me and haven't since. Yep, me too. But a year later, in February 2022, suddenly I got a message from my old director wanting to chat. UBAM was offering all leaders that lost their leadership in 2020 to 2021 a chance to get it back, no questions asked. And she wanted to share this great news with me. The person that told me I was toxic, that told me I needed to fix my mindset, that stopped talking to me the second she realized I was no longer going to make money for her, was messaging me with this amazing opportunity. I told her no, and she responded telling me how much she missed me on the team. I didn't respond to that emotional manipulation. I had seen the light and I was not going back. I'm so proud of you. I just recently sold off the last of my stock and it felt great to remove that from my house. I still have a large amount of the books for my daughter and I do think they have incredible books, but don't miss the MLM side of the business at all. Oh my gosh, yes. I can totally relate to this because being done with MLM is literally like the best thing that's ever happened to me in my whole life. Like true time freedom is not being in an MLM. And like selling off any inventory I had left, clearing out my office of just like so many little trinkety prizes or like random prizes that I won for sales, or as a leader, you just like stash all these Usborne Books and More branded things. And by the way, Usborne Books and More is rebranding, totally new name, colors, logo, everything. So just forget about all that Usborne Books and More stuff that you had because it's not even going to be relevant soon. So I'll definitely do a video on that when it comes out. But anyway, thank you for sharing your stories. MLM Horror Stories videos are weird because I'm like, wow, thank you so much for sharing your story. But like, they were awful. Like, I'm sorry that all of those things happened to you. But hopefully you learned something from watching this video and you can really watch out for red flags. Know that MLMs are toxic. Don't join one. And submit your horror stories to me if you have one. The email to send those to are in the description below. And subscribe to my channel if you want to see more anti-MLM content. And like this video if you enjoyed it or learned something. And I will see you next time. So let me scooch over. Let me scoochy.